I want you to pay close attention to this report CNN just put out just 5 minutes ago. I backed my TiVo up. I want you to listen to this report. Listen to every word. Listen to what they're talking about. Just a heads up.
Serious concerns that are being raised over Olympic security. While hundreds of athletes start arriving today, the Observer newspaper is reporting that in the last few weeks, several people on a terror watch list were waved through at the airport instead of being flagged. Olympic organizers, they're also scrambling to fill thousands of security jobs after the main contractor said it would not be able to provide the 10,000 staff that it actually promised.
You hear this?
Joining us from London,
I mean, I knew that part already.
To talk a little bit
Listen
about
to this.
It sounds, Dan, kind of alarming what's going on here. And first of all, just give us an update on these folks who were on the terror watch list, who essentially made it through security, who are now in the country.
Well, that's what the Observer newspaper is claiming. However, the Home Office, the Interior Ministry, if you like here, is pushing back on that claim. They are admitting that there were staff on passport desks here, Border Force staff, who don't normally check passports, that extra people have been drafted in to bolster numbers in order to reduce the waiting times when you arrive at airports like Heathrow. But they are insistent that no corners were cut, that all the normal checks were done as per usual. And in fact, they're saying that an independent inspector of the Border Force agrees that all the necessary checks were being done and he had full confidence in the process. So they are pushing back hard against the suggestion that sort of half a dozen known terrorist suspects have been allowed to slip in because of staff who aren't properly trained, or people don't know what they're doing because they've been drafted in to check passports at the frontier here in the UK. The other perhaps bigger story here that's getting a lot of traction is the story about this private security firm that has failed to come up with the requisite number of guards for various Olympic sites. Now, the Interior Minister here, the Home Office Minister, Theresa May, has been defending what's happened. Basically, they've now had to draft in an extra 3,500 soldiers to bridge the gap left by this security firm G4S, because they're unable to guarantee the full 10,000 guards at various different sites that they were contracted to provide. Here's a quick bite from Theresa May explaining what went wrong.
In fact, we have accredited over 20,000 G4S personnel. The issue is in getting staff to the venue security task.
So she's basically saying until last Wednesday they were being told by this private security firm G4S that they would actually get more people than was necessary. They would overshoot their targets. In fact, now we know they're going to undershoot, and so the police and army are having to step in, cancelling holidays, cancelling leave in order to make sure all the various stadiums are guarded properly.
And Dan, how worried are people there? I mean, you know, you talk about this scrambling at the last minute for security. People must be pretty concerned.
It's pretty unedifying, and it's very embarrassing for G4S, the company involved. They've basically held up their hands and said, yes, you know, it's a mistake and we apologise. There are lots of calls now for them to make sure that they pick up the tab for, you know, for example, soldiers having to cancel their holidays. Some of these soldiers coming straight back out of Afghanistan thinking they were going to have a break after sort of 6 months or more away in combat, and then suddenly having to find they're going to, you know, having to go up and basically, you know, check tickets at Olympic venues and search bags and so on. So it's pretty embarrassing for them, embarrassing for the government and the Olympic organisers as well. But the message has been, you know, throughout from the government that, you know, there is, of course, a security concern here. Just a day after we won the bid here in Britain for the Olympics in 2005, we had the 7/7 bomb attack. So that underlines, you know, that there is a constant security risk here in London. They're saying they can ensure these games are safe and secure.
All right, Dan, it sounds like it's just a messy situation there. A lot of work to do just with days away from the Olympics. Thanks, Dan.
You mean to tell me that the people in charge of security for the Olympics are that incompetent? You know, we're not talking about the neighborhood carnival. We're talking about the Olympics. These things are planned out years in advance. Has this ever happened before? I don't know. Just my own speculation, I think there's another agenda at play. Might possibly see a false flag play out. I'm going to give you a bunch of links. I'll just dump all this on you now. That way I don't have to cover the Jericho report. It'll make that shorter. MI5 terror threat level still sits at substantial. If that happens to go to critical, you know, you know, is what it is. I'll put a link to that. I'll be watching that. If it does go critical, I'll put another video out. London 2012, Olympic security army reinforcements called in to fill G4S shortfall. Military to provide 3,500 extra troops amid fears that G4S may be unable to supply 10,000 guards it promised to deliver. It's really amazing that these people are supposed to show up and they're not showing up. Let me get through these real quick. I don't want to make this a real long video. Al-Qaeda plotting cyanide attack at games. This is from The Sun. I don't know how much I trust it, but whatever. The Blaze, gone to court. London residents protest the use of anti-terror missiles on their rooftops for the Olympic game defense. I'll put a link to this, The Blaze. There's also a Fox News clip on YouTube somewhere. I'll hunt that down and put it below. You know, when our president is somewhere in the United States or somewhere, you know, just... When have missiles ever been put on rooftops for an event? You mean to tell me that they can't enforce like a 200-mile airspace law over there or something? Come on, man. So I'll put a link to that. You got a president over there not going to the games because he doesn't have a hotel in walking distance. I think F-Town gave you this story. This is just unbelievable. A president cancels a trip because there's not a hotel within walking distance. I call BS on that, and here's why. I'll put a link below that about how a lot of Pentagon officials were warned the day before 9/11. San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown was warned not to fly on the morning of 9/11. That's true. If you don't trust my link, look it up. That's pretty much all I got. Just be on alert, people. You heard that report. I don't know what else to say. London was one of the places named in Operation Blackjack. People are tired of hearing that from me. I know, but what do you want me to do? It's in my heart, you know. I honestly feel that that's a very possible scenario. So I'm not going to shut up despite what anyone wants me to do. I think it's a more realistic scenario now than ever before. You heard the man say, terrorists are getting through. People on a watch list are being waved through the airport. Getting through security. How the hell does that happen? I thought we were safer. I thought we were safer after 9/11, right? All this security, it's all for our safety. They just wave the terrorists through, just like the underwear bomber. Here, CIA asset, put him on the plane. Hey, it is what it is. I love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. Pray that nothing happens. If there is some sort of something that happens, then I can only pray for divine intervention, even though I'm not really a big believer, but it's what else we got, you know? What else are we going to do? Who else are we going to ask for help? We don't have any control over this. We got no control over any of this. We're just going to sit here and watch it frickin' happen. There's nothing we can do about it. So got to ask Big Guns upstairs, man, if you're there. Can use your help. Take care, stay safe.